Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to hop on here and give everyone a little bit of an update on how things are going and what's going on. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about is I'm really excited to be filming intermittently on my, and if y'all hear loud thuds, that is Gracie throwing her bone up. She's playing catch with herself, so just FYI on that. But I wanted to talk about my video where I am rescuing some dead plants. I know everyone's excited to see that video. Well, last night, while I was away from the house, we had this one little rain cloud come over, which happened to contain a lot of hail. So my poor plants got beat to crap. But I'm going to include that as part of the video. It doesn't always go smoothly. Even if you have plants you bought at the nursery, when you have something like a hailstorm come through, I'm going to show you what it's like for those plants to bounce back. And they really do. They really do. Plants are much more resilient than we give them credit for. But this is kind of what it looks like this morning. I mean, my grapes, my big grape vine that was just beautiful and luscious just really took a hard beating, and these plants were being shaded by that grapevine, so they kind of took a beating too. So y'all can see all the leaves that have gotten beaten off this tree. These are also my rehab plants. They also got beaten up a little bit. Let's go look at the butterfly bush. Oh yeah, it got beaten up quite a bit. It was really full. You can see all the leaves that have fallen off. Gracie, move your hiney. All the leaves. My little trees took somewhat of a beating, but not bad. I mean, it wasn't that bad, considering how much hail we got. So I was really grateful for that. But I'm going to include that as part of the dead plant video when all that happens, because I think that's important. Not everything goes well. And one of the things that came up after I posted my last video on the myth of security, and a lot of y'all saw that video, one of the things I talked about in that video was the idea of mastering change management, being able to handle change, because that's the real skill set. It's not knowing what to do all the time. It's being able to handle change, and sometimes that change happens very rapidly. So I think today on the other channel, I'm going to be putting up a video that talks about that. That talks about how not to catastrophize everything. Oh, the sky's falling. Y'all, if the sky fell every time there was bad news, we'd have no sky. I mean, it would fall constantly. We'd be like a yo-yo. So, no. But there are things you can do to help your own anxiety about that. Because change can be really difficult, especially as we age. But it's also really difficult for young people who do not have the wealth of experience a lot of us do to understand that things are not as bad as they may seem sometimes. So I'm going to talk about that on the other channel. I've been getting Gracie out and going to the park with her. She looks like a little sausage because she has not been getting enough exercise. And so we're really making a concerted effort, especially now that summer is finally kind of trying to wane, and it's not quite as hot in the mornings as it used to be. We are going very early, so it's not there's not a lot of light when we get out because it's very early. But that has helped. Helped her, helps me. And I know a lot of you are anxious for the beginning of fall for the same reason. Oh my gosh, this has been a long, hot summer. And having said that, I'm amazed my plants are doing as well as they have, considering I have not spent a lot of money to water them. I've been really very specific and selective with what I water, and that has worked out well this year. Doesn't always, but it has this year. So I do have a lot of fun fall ideas that we'll be talking about and just having some fun with. I don't usually or haven't in the past really decorated for fall, but you know what? This year I feel like it. Some years you just feel like decorating your space, and you feel like having it just be inspirational. And I love fall, and I'm in a new space. This will be the first fall in this house, the first Christmas, the first everything. And so I'm really anxious for it to look nice, for me to smell the wonderful small fall smells. And I know y'all are looking forward to this too. And really get excited for that time of year. It's one of my favorite times of year. One of the things I also want to do is to actually get up really early one of these mornings and go to the farmer's market. The farmer's market around here doesn't really get started, doesn't really get to rolling until the end of July, first part of August. So it's just now being super productive with lots of vendors. And so I want to take y'all along to that on one of these mornings, just so you can see what it's like here. Farmers markets vary tremendously across the country, but in a lot of ways they're similar too. So I wanted to go to one of the Amarillo farmers markets just so y'all can see what it's like here and what there is to offer and what the prices are. We are all very price conscious right now. I am too. Listen, every time you go to the grocery store, it's crazy what groceries cost. But at the same time, the assumptions we carry, the assumptions we've all had, and I may do a complete separate video on this too, is that places like Walmart or Amazon are cheaper. They are not anymore. They really are not. And in some cases, dramatically so. They're just not cheaper. And so I have been kind of doing price comparisons, and the grocery store here in town, Market Street United, which is a very fancy, relatively, it's not Harris Teeter, but it's a really nice grocery store for here. And my assumption has always been, well, they're always more expensive, but they're higher quality. Now they're not more expensive, but they're still higher quality. So that is really good news for me because I am really being careful about comparing those prices. And so I think that's something that I really need to do another video on, because so much has changed in the last few years. And the assumptions we've all held about where to get the cheapest goods and where things might be less expensive just aren't true anymore. And you wouldn't know that unless you went and actually compared the prices. So I'm going to be doing more of that this fall and talking about things as they have fall sales. And I'm sure you all have noticed this as well. You know, in the past when you had Memorial Day sales, Labor Day sales, you know, your grocery store sales that go through the holidays, there are certain expectations of what's on sale and what's going to be a good price. Those have completely changed as to what's on sale and what it actually is a good price. So as we go through fall, I'm going to be talking about that more, because groceries are one of those expenses that are truly variable. It depends what you're going to spend on what you want to eat and what those things cost at any given moment, and those costs change constantly. So I think it really bears us working through and looking at that a little bit more heavily. I am also trying to find a place here locally to start selling my artwork. Many of you know I also, yes, paint. And I'm doing more and more of that. For whatever reason, you know, sometimes it just strikes that way that you want to paint a lot, and that's been happening lately. So I want to find a place where I can actually sell those paintings, where people can actually see them. It's not online. And I know online is great, and it is. It absolutely is. And I'll probably sell some prints and things online. But when you talk about shipping paintings, especially paintings that you need to insure because they're not cheap, that is so expensive these days. And really, I just need to sell some paintings that to people here locally. I don't need to sell paintings to the whole world. I can do that with prints. And so I will probably start doing some of that, and I'll update y'all and let y'all know where y'all can see those. And if you all are interested in having, you know, coffee cups or anything like that, which I've done before. And people have really enjoyed those aprons and, you know, fun stuff, especially getting into fall for Christmas and that sort of thing. So those are just a few things that are on my slate, as well as finishing this tremendous and fabulous book idea that I have. It is a big book. It's not really a romance. It's not a genre book. It is a big book. And so one of the things I'm really focused on is doing the best job I can on that book. And I'll be updating y'all on that as well, especially my patrons. You'll get to read a little bit of that book before anyone else sees it. So, and I really, really appreciate all my patrons. And I wanted to tell you all that. I try to remember to tell you all in several videos, but I really, really appreciate you. This channel wouldn't happen without people supporting it. And I really appreciate your support. And the link to my Patreon channel is down below. This will post on my regular YouTube channel, so I'll provide that link on the regular YouTube channel. Of course, my patrons get to see these types of videos at least 1 to 2 weeks before anyone else sees them. And if you would like to join my patrons, the link is down below. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time.